Us human beings have been designed to suffer since the very start of creation. No matter the time, culture, or background of any human being who has ever lived throughout history, there has been one constant that connects all of them: suffering. It has always been there. No matter if they were kings, peasants, prophets, or politicians, as long as they existed as conscious human beings in this world, suffering was part of their experience. Power, wealth, or status did not remove it. So the real question that arises is simple but unavoidable. Why? Why does suffering exist at all? Why does it seem woven into the fabric of human life, no matter who you are or where you come from? In this video, we are going to break down what suffering actually is, and why it is not an accident, but a necessity of this reality for existence and evolution itself. Before anything, we need to define something clearly. Suffering does not equal pain. In most conversations, people use these two words interchangeably, but they are not the same. Pain is only one possible outlet of suffering, one emotional expression that can accompany it, but suffering itself is much broader than that. Suffering can exist alongside many different emotional states and reactions, depending on the meaning we attach to the experience. For example, going to the gym is physically painful. Your muscles tear, your body strains, your breathing gets heavy. For someone who hates training, that pain becomes suffering, filled with frustration and resistance. But for someone who sees growth inside it, the exact same pain becomes fulfillment, pride, and motivation. The activity is identical. The physical sensation is identical, but the psychological interpretation changes the experience entirely. The same applies to having a disciplined diet, waking up early to work on something meaningful, studying for years to master a craft, building a business from nothing, raising a child, or even enduring long creative processes that drain your energy. All of these can contain discomfort and struggle, yet some people experience them as suffering filled with purpose, while others experience them as suffering filled with resentment. So suffering is inevitable. Pain and sadness are optional emotional layers we attach afterward through the narrative we create around the experience. Take religious frameworks as another example. For many religious individuals, suffering is not seen as meaningless. It is interpreted as a test, purification, or pathway toward closeness with the divine. Some even voluntarily place themselves in physically demanding or restrictive conditions because they associate suffering with spiritual elevation. The external suffering exists, but the internal reaction shifts dramatically based on interpretation. So this brings us to the deeper question. What is suffering in its pure form? At its core, suffering is a divergence, a gap between an individual's expectations of reality and what actually happens in reality. The larger this gap becomes, the more intense the suffering feels. If you expect fairness but encounter injustice, suffering appears. Or, if you expect meaning but encounter emptiness, suffering appears. So suffering is not fundamentally emotional. It is psychological. It is the tension created when reality does not match our inner vision. And paradoxically, this same gap is what has driven every major leap in human evolution. It is the force behind every "what if" that has ever entered the human mind. What if we could fly? What if we could cure disease? What if we could communicate across oceans? What if reality could be different than it is now? That dissatisfaction with current reality created suffering and also created innovation. Many tried to close that gap. Many failed, and few succeeded. And the world we live in today is the accumulated result of those who acted on that inner divergence rather than suppressing it. Every tool, system, technology, and structure you interact with was once an idea born from someone recognizing something missing in reality and deciding to bring it into existence. When you start seeing suffering through this lens, its meaning changes completely. It stops being just a negative experience to escape. It becomes an indicator and a wake-up call. It tells you that your inner core is asking for expansion, creation, or change. It reminds you that you are here not just to exist, but to participate in shaping reality. Humans are creators by design, but modern existence has placed many people into purely consumptive roles. Consume content, products, and experiences. When creation is suppressed and consumption becomes the dominant mode of existence, and suffering naturally increases. Because we move away from our nature. And this is why suffering is necessary. It pushes us back toward creation. It forces reflection. It ignites questioning. And ultimately, it keeps humanity evolving and moving forward rather than stagnating.